Have you heard about American sliced cheese on apple pie?
Come again?
I said, have you heard about American sliced cheese?
God damn it. No, I ain't heard nothing about no American cheese on a fucking apple pie, bro.
Okay. I don't eat apple pie, but
I
I
love
do eat
apple pie.
American cheese. But like I saw this
Fair.
movie called Thank You for Smoking.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. A man was very comfortable with eating American cheese slices on his apple pie.
But all right, did he melt them on there or like?
Yeah, no, like it was a melted slice of cheese. It's not like a cold piece of cheese.
Well,
Like it's a
I don't
warm apple
know.
pies with warm cheese on it. Apparently, it's
Was
America's
he?
staple. It's good.
He puts American cheese
Just
on
right on
it
top of it.
when it's
No
like
whipped cream.
finishing.
Yeah, it's like a finishing touch. It's like a topper, if you will, of an apple pie.
I put ice cream on my apple pie.
Well, no shit. That's a la mode. That's just normal. People do that everywhere. You do brownies and fucking ice cream. You do bananas with ice cream. You do what else? I don't know. There's plenty of cookies with ice cream. But at that point, that's like cookie ice cream sandwiches and shit. You know,
That shit's good.
it is good.
Where did this originate?
I never looked it up, but I'm sure it's probably like a staple. Kind of like how us Ohioans and I'm thinking Kentuckians, and I think they try to take credit for it, but are Goetta. And I'm sure people don't know a lot about Goetta. If you do, like that's awesome. Round of applause. I've met Ohioans that didn't even fuck with it.
What?
Yeah, which is crazy.
So Goetta is a big thing in Cincinnati and surrounding areas. It is a food that originally was created by super poor German immigrants that lived here.
Hence the name Cincinnati.
Right.
Cincinnati. I feel like that's a dad joke. I do.
It is. Yeah. I feel like we've talked about this, but I can't remember.
I don't think we did. I don't think we did.
Anyway, so it's essentially just like pork. I'm pretty sure it's just pork,
Oats
mixed with
onion.
like oats and spices and shit
Mm-hmm. And it's delicious.
into like a sausage log, if you will. I don't know why.
A sausage log. Oh my gosh. Yeah, so I guess essentially you can do that, and there's many
A
ways.
sausage log.
You can cook it like it's like mushed up ground beef, like you're making hamburger helper, and then eat it that way.
Whack.
You could do it where you slice it in like since it's a sausage log, I guess you'll slice it in a circle.
Yeah, you fucking
and you fry it, and some people make
crispy
sandwiches out of it.
They gotta be crispy.
That's how I like it, but I like it grounded up, and I get it crispy on both sides.
I will say though, as long as it's fully cooked, if I gotta eat it with a spoon, I'll eat it with a spoon. But preferably, nice little fried discs are the way to go.
Some people just crisp that shit up like it's bacon though, and I hate that.
What do you mean, have a little super crispy?
Yeah, like way too crispy. It's like when
the outside has to have a nice.
It has to have like a golden brown char.
Yeah.
And then like the inside can be like kind of soft but pillowy. That's how I like it. Firm is cool too. Yeah, firm is cool too. But like
a nice cake, pillowy.
Exactly. That's how I like it. But I eat it with like buttered bread and eggs, or buttered toast and eggs, and that's like my shit. That's how I've always ate it. But my girlfriend don't eat it. I haven't had it in probably fucking 6 years. So,
what?
Yeah. Or I maybe had it twice in 6 years, maybe twice or 3 times, which is sad.
Yeah.
I love that shit. I'm probably gonna pick some up today because I have to go to the store anyway.
Last time I had Goetta was a couple months ago, and I had a Goetta egg and cheese bagel.
That sounds. Now, was this homemade or did you go to a restaurant?
A restaurant, so it was even better. Honestly,
I mean, you can do. See here, I've learned this. It's just more or less just laziness and just working in life. But like, if you can make the energy to like come home and cook, you can literally have the same thing restaurant style every which way at home.
Okay, kind of. And I only say this
Mm.
because of just going to so many different places, but um, restaurants get better ingredients than you can get at the store.
Well, the funny thing about
Except
that,
for the meat. You can get really good meat at the
mhm, you
at
can just go to a
the
butcher shop.
yeah. But
Yeah.
as far as like I don't know, as far as like go out to somewhere that serves a sandwich on a ciabatta bun or roll or on a brioche bun, then go to Kroger and try to find a brioche bun that's that good. You won't be able to. You know what I mean? Like,
I feel like I'm gonna destroy you with that. Or I could honestly sit here and I could make sourdough fucking ciabatta or whatever at home, like
yeah, you're gonna
homemade.
make bread, yeah, sure, but like
That's
if
what I'm
you're
saying, dude. I think you're
if you if
schooled there. But
no,
yes,
like
but
if you
that's
go
the whole point of
buy,
laziness. That's the whole point of like laziness. You know what I mean? Nobody's gonna
nobody's
sit there
making
and
no
make.
bread,
Ch-
bro.
Some people are. Some people are bread fans, like bread fanatics, and they actually just love making bread. And like I get it because if you taste real bread, authentic fucking delicious bread, and you're
Yeah,
surviving on
it's definitely way different.
it is,
And it's very
and
good.
because like until like fatties of the earth took over, bread was supposed to be a dessert. Bread was sweet, and you would top it with shit. But then we turned it into like sandwiches and burgers and so on and so forth. And so when you have natural bread, it's a whole game changer. Now, with that being said, I'm not going to sit here and make ciabatta bread. I'm just making the point that you can, and you can go above and beyond and have that fucking, you know, restaurant style sandwich. Now, granted, I feel that all restaurants cut corners, but they're going to have a little bit better ingredients than we are. And when you're going to a restaurant, I think the whole thing is it tastes better. As long as it's a good restaurant, you can go to a fucking, you're going to McDonald's, you're going to get McDonald's. You know what I
Right,
mean?
right.
You're going to Burger King, you're getting Burger King.
And
And so on
like
and so
you
forth.
don't have like a big charbroil grill or like a big fucking flat top at home. You know what I mean? Like to make like making
That's actually
like
my goal right now. They actually have flat tops you can buy for sale for like $90,
yeah, fuck
and
yeah.
that's what I like. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
You got, but
The
go
flat
ahead.
tops are where it's at, dude. Like
They are.
make a grilled cheese in a pan and on a flat top. And I promise you that flat top grilled cheese is gonna be 10 times better every single time.
And if you melt the butter like they do at the restaurants, so you get like clarified butter though. But if you get like you just make
So
make your own melted
you
butter,
just margarine, right?
yeah,
Yep. And you just liquid margarine. So you don't even
just
have to
melt it
melt
down.
it.
So,
You don't even have to melt it. It's already liquid.
oh, okay, yep.
Use a squirt bottle,
Mm-hmm.
squirt a little bit in a little square on the flat top. You just put your fucking piece of bread on it. And it covers the entire side of that bread perfectly.
That's the most delicious
Yeah.
grilled cheese on the planet. I want
Yeah,
to
it
get like
is.
some Gruyere. I want to get some Swiss. I want to get some feta, and I want to get like maybe some American. Just all that on a
I want to
fucking.
make I want to take that Gruyere you just said with
I don't even know if I'm pronouncing it right,
some
but yeah.
tomato and spinach and bacon on it. Maybe not the
Okay.
bacon, but
No, the bacon you'd have to. Otherwise, I mean, I need a crunch, man, and that tomato is going to get
well,
soft.
the bread's gonna
Oh,
be
but I need more crunch. I need like you know what I'm saying. If I gotta eat that tomato and that spinach, you're gonna give me something I really love. You know, you know what I mean.
I don't want that shit. I don't want no veggies on my grilled cheese.
No, like if I'm gonna eat a veggie grilled cheese, you best believe I either want some bacon on it or some turkey or maybe both, or that's all. No ham with that shit. I wouldn't want ham,
Oh,
spinach,
all
and tomato.
right. A good, all right. A grilled ham and cheese on rye
Hmm.
bread with Swiss.
I fuck with it.
Fire.
I would put some
Or
mustard on it, though.
one piece of Swiss and one piece of pepper jack. Grilled ham and cheese on a rye.
I would do that, but minus the pepper jack. No pepper jack.
Well, then just Swiss.
I'm just getting old to where like anything I eat spicy, like Tums need to be near and close to my heart.
I literally never used Tums because I had heartburn every once in a while, but it was never like an issue until like last year. And then
Right.
I bought Tums for the first time and was like, I guess this is my life now.
Right. Like, I guess I'm accepting this.
Yeah. Not excited about it, but it's okay. What's up, everybody? Blasphemous Reviews. I'm Jake.
I'm KJ.
What's up? We're here. We're alive.
But going back into it, though, honestly.
Going back into grilled ham and cheeses?
Yes, going back into the food. I think that's like a part of like what I want to talk about, like in a sense today, is like what's been on my mind. You know what I mean? Like I've had a lot.
Ham and cheeses.
Well, not grilled ham and cheeses, but just okay. So I just love making some kind of fancy food. I do. I love cooking. I don't know whether it be. I just like cooking. So, anyways, I can't stop thinking about my food truck. It's the only thing that's like literally in my mind besides owning a Tesla. Like those are my two things in my life that I want. And with this food truck, I've thought about doing like weekly specials where I'll make this week and this next week and so on and so forth. I thought about doing barbecue and making my own fucking smoker, like out of a barrel and shit.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I've thought about doing that and smoking a bunch of shit at my home and then taking it, you know, keeping it heated on the truck, you know, shit like that.
Smoking it on the truck too?
No.
I'm sorry. I was making a joke and it didn't work. Continue.
Okay. Anyways, like, and I thought about like doing like beef stroganoff, but like with like carrots and onions and shit like that, you know, and tacos all day, brother.
Sorry.
Anyways,
tacos. Yeah, dude, like some nice fire street tacos.
Yes.
Can one of yours? Can Monday be Ma's meatloaf sandwich Monday or something?
Like just make meatloaf sandwiches for people.
Yeah, fuck it.
I could do that because like what I'd do is I'd make the meatloaf and then I'd fry it, give it a little crisp, little char on the flat top, then maybe throw a piece of cheese on it.
Do the ketchup thing on it.
The ketchup's still going to be on there. It's just going to be on the side. It's going to
no. How about you make the meatloaf without the ketchup on the top?
Okay.
And you fry the sides and then put the ketchup.
Just squirt it on top?
No, you like.
I would want warm ketchup if it was my preference.
Yeah. You would.
You know what I mean? I wouldn't want cold ketchup.
You'd like put it on the last flip of the meatloaf.
Oh, kind of char the ketchup a little bit, or just let it get or like, are you saying like on the last flip, then put the ketchup on and let it kind of get warm as well, even though it's like already warm itself? Because I wouldn't want to put like cold ketchup right on a hot meatloaf.
Yeah, you know, need to keep ketchup cold.
You don't have to. I don't think you do. I think you can keep it room temp. A lot of diners do that shit.
Yeah.
I mean, since I've been doing it.
As long as it's in a sealed container.
Right.
Yeah. And I mean, if you're at a restaurant or on a food truck or something, you're going to be going through it fast enough that, you know what I mean? It won't go bad by the time you go through the bottle.
Right. That's actually really good. Meatloaf sandwiches. I would probably what I would do is I would probably make like either French fries with that, or like people really dig those, what's it called? Those, not pumpkin French fries. What are those? Sweet potato fries. That's what I would make with those.
They're orange. You were somewhat close.
Right. No, I wouldn't fuck with them myself, but I'd probably like throw them in a little Parmesan and a little parsley. And that's probably how I'd do it. Yeah.
Wait, the sweet potato fries?
Yes, I would. I'd throw a little Parmesan in them, or toss them in a little Parmesan and parsley.
Okay. I would do...
Or I would do rosemary, salt, and Parmesan.
Some brown sugar.
I don't want sweet potato fries, like sweet potato fries.
Just a little brown sugar.
Okay.
So
I'd probably put like a spice rub together then at that point. Like, see, it's just the thought right now. Talking about this gets me so
the wheels
excited
are
and so
turning.
amped. And yeah, they're just churning and gurning, and I'm just so excited to own one. I plan on having it by the time I'm 35 years old, if not sooner. So it's like a 5-year dream.
Hey, it's achievable.
It's very
Especially
achievable.
with cryptocurrency.
Was that your way of diving into that?
I think so.
Right.
Yeah, no, I mean, invest
So what's
now.
been on your mind?
Invest now, and in 5 years, your investment will pay off, and you can get your food truck.
Oh, I don't plan on waiting 5 years for cryptocurrency to get me my food truck, but I know what you mean. My cat just ran right up here. I don't know if you saw it in camera, but she
No.
just
Yeah, no. Yeah, you should.
Oh, I plan on it.
Some Bitcoin and
I got to
some
do my
Ethereum
research.
and Litecoin and stuff like that. You know, all the good
We'll
stuff.
just start with Bitcoin. We'll just start there. You know,
Okay.
let's understand one before we jump into others.
Well, if you understand Bitcoin, then you pretty much will understand most of it, all of the others.
Okay. Well, it's stuff that you definitely need to like. I need to research and learn on my own. It's things that like because everybody tries to explain something to you at some point, and you just like I don't know if this is just me. It could be just me. It's just like man, like I would love to understand your language and what you're trying to give me and let me receive right now, but like I'd be on the better end of learning through a fucking YouTube channel, you know,
Right?
or you know, a series. Just because some people like okay, so this is how I look at this. I was a big fan of Jon Stewart and Stephen Colbert, you know, and those guys gave goofy ass politics, you know, and it was in a way that I could understand politics because I was never really understanding it in school. I never understood going to class. It kind of just fucking sucked. It was probably the teachers that sucked, honestly. Probably wasn't the government class itself. But, anyways, like, I believe that, like, if somebody can comedically explain to me Bitcoin in a way that I can understand it and, you know, it be conveyed to me, then like awesome. It will make me, you know, click better than anything else will. And that's just who I am. I'm what's it called? Like a visual learner, if you will.
Right.
So, but
yeah, just look it up. First I would say look up what blockchain technology is.
Mm-hmm.
And how that is important in our time that we live in, and then start looking into how it's used for Bitcoin, and then how and why Bitcoin is important for the time that we live in.
And that's my exact point right there, is how you just explained 3 questions to me. And how fucking like that's the whole point like I look at. So like with you with telling me that, that's something like even telling me I gotta write that shit down. That's just how I am. You know what I mean? I ain't gonna remember that shit. That's
we'll
something
go
like
over
if I was listening to like a podcast, I'd have to pause, rewind, and write down.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
It's just all right. You gotta
blockchain.
Go.
Blockchain. Blockchain.
Okay. Do you see a chain? Remember a block with a chain. Blockchain.
There you go. There you go. See, now you're not going to forget it. Hopefully. But yeah, it's a wild time out here, man. Tesla just bought like $1.6 billion worth of Bitcoin.
I know if Tesla's doing it, I need to do it. That's how I'm gonna look at it. I'm gonna have to swim in his pool.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I just fucking I want a fucking Tesla so fucking bad. I have seen so many TikTok videos of people that like they do this douchey thing that I don't like, And speaking of douchey, I remember that I called people that wore V-necks douchebags in the last episode. As you blatantly can fucking see, I own one. I am said douchebag.
It's like that Spider-Man meme.
Right. But where was I getting at? What was I even talking about?
Teslas.
TikTok. Okay, so I have seen so many like TikTok videos, so many Tesla videos where like people have done this douchey thing where they will like click their outlet button or the male piece, I guess, for the charge of the car, and they click the back of their brake light, and then they plug it in. It's like, what's the point of that shit?
What?
And like, yeah, they just so any Tesla owner when they're going to supercharge their car or charge their car overnight, they like to click the back of their the brake light. They click it with the outlet, and then they plug it in. And I don't know if that sends a signal to the Tesla that the little port needs to open to charge the Tesla or not. But like, I always found it kind of douchey that they did that. But I've also seen other videos that blow my mind. Like how they can just self-park is fucking unbelievable. How they can self-drive, and like I've seen people just straight up napping, which is insane. I would never recommend that. But
don't do it, kids.
Yeah, definitely do not. And there is kids that
don't nap and let your Tesla drive.
Right. But like
yet.
Exactly.
It's only going to get better, but
it is. But like they even have this point where
we're afraid to change in the world, so we got to be,
But everybody's jumping on that bandwagon, dude. They got 2021s that are like GMCs or Chevys or some
the
shit.
Auto park and shit.
No, not just the auto park, electric plug-in.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah. They're all trying to go to that now.
I mean, yeah, these companies should have realized that fucking 10 years ago.
They did.
Now here's and then that's why Tesla is the lead, because they're just like, they knew from the get-go, like, hey, this is the way things are going to go, so we're going to make cars with that now.
Mm-hmm. And they're crisp looking, dude. Every Tesla you can pick.
They're fucking clean, bro.
Dude, I know that I would have Tesla slippers. I just know that. Like, don't fuck with me. I'm gonna have Tesla slippers. I'm taking my shoes off. They're going in the trunk or in the front. I don't know, whatever the trunk is. It's probably the front of the fucking car. I don't know. But anyways, I know that I'd take my shoes off and I'd have little slippers ready for me to go in. And anytime it was raining, I'd figure out like, dude, yeah, my Tesla, I would never fucking eat in that car.
Yeah,
I would never. Like, oh, dude, I'm just saying. Like, I've always wanted one. They're so gorgeous to look at. I see them.
Do you think people who like go out and get drunk have their Tesla drive them home?
Yes, seen a TikTok of it. He was actually in the back seat, and he was like, "Tesla, I'm too drunk to drive. Take me home." And it just starts to fuck up, and it's just whipping out of the parking lot, and takes him home. Blows my mind, man. Like, it's so fucking neat.
Oh,
it's like you will never like. That would make me more comfortable going to the bar.
Right.
It would make me 100 times.
You can drive. You can take over when you need to, but then
mm-hmm.
if you're like, oh shit, I don't know about this. Hold on, let me just put it on auto drive for a second.
Oh man. And like, what's cool is the window starts at the fucking where a normal window starts on a car, and then it goes like all the way back. There's like it's all completely like a roof. Like, it's fucking like a seeable roof. Like, the window goes from like the front. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's so fucking cool, dude. It's like he says, like, somebody said being in it it's kind of like for a second you think you're in a spaceship because you can visually see everything, but like it's really neat. Like, dude, I can't fucking wait. One day I will have me a Tesla.
I mean, you can find some of the first ones for sale used for not that, like 12,000.
I hope so. I've never looked in. The first one I ever saw was like $32K, and that was a used one with like 8,000 miles. So I'm sure what you said, like if I looked up like the first generation, because I'm sure they're not advertising those kind of vehicles just right off the rip.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
something you. So I don't know, but I've always wanted one, man. I saw some guy that actually took like crashed Teslas, and he just took parts off of crashed Teslas, and he remade it.
Yeah. The only shitty thing about that is that Tesla actually, I don't know. I haven't looked into that in a while,
Mhm.
but I know what guy you're talking about. And they were trying to sue him for
Because he
doing
made a fucking Tesla.
well because he was taking apart crashed Teslas, and using the parts.
Gotcha.
And I don't know, there's some legality there that Tesla has on him for that, but yeah, I mean, he was getting in trouble for it.
Hmm. I wonder. I'll have to read on that, see if he actually did or if he fought that shit. I'd fight that shit.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? I want to like say that, because I mean, in my eyes, at least for like, Elon Musk and Tesla and SpaceX,
Hmm.
it's all forward thinking, advancing technology, trying to build a better future type shit, right?
Right.
And here's the thing that I've always considered to be one of the more important things for the future, and that is modular everything. Everything being able to
Hmm.
be modular. Like,
Hmm.
am I saying that right? Modular. Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Well,
Um,
explain what you mean in
so by
modular.
that I mean like essentially all parts in a thing being able to be interchangeable and replaced. So like a computer, pretty much modular, because I can buy whatever brand fans and components and everything, interchange and swap all the parts to improve and customize that thing to however I
Hmm.
want to. Um, but you go and buy a phone, and the phone is just a phone. You know what I mean? That's why I like my phone a lot, which is the Moto Z4. It has the mod capabilities here on the back, where I can attach mods. I mean, it's very, rudimentary currently, but the whole idea is that, oh, do I want a better camera? Well, I can attach a better camera mod. Do I
Right.
want to improve my memory with a big, whatever? I can do that. If I want to improve the battery and add an extra battery, there's a battery mod. You know what I mean? All sorts of
Hmm.
different um, mods. And like the way I envision, this is just my vision for the future of technology, is to everything be modular. So like your TV, you know, what happens when you have a TV that breaks?
You go buy a new one.
You just fucking get rid of it,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
Why can't that just be fixed? Why can't whatever is wrong with it be replaced with a new one? You know what I mean?
That's the
Like,
thing. You're talking basically how they used to do back in the day that we're, I guess, in a sense, bringing back because, like, you always hear those people say where they're like, man, nothing was built like it used to be. That's very fucking true. Things could last you 50, 60, 70 years. I'm
yeah,
not
well,
saying televisions could, but granted, back in the day, there used to be a store, a TV repair store. So it's like, oh,
right,
your TV's busted. Let me repair it for you, and then you're good to go.
right.
You know,
I
and
mean, and
it's
like
probably a little
that's
bit more intricate in 2021, obviously, but
same
you
with like
know,
phones. Like, I only know of one place that does that, and they
mm,
only repair screens, basically. You know what I mean? Like,
it's because that's the only experience they have. Because
well,
essentially,
the like phones, for instance, the phone
mhm,
companies specifically design the phones to not be able to be repaired, so
right,
you have to buy a new one. Apple does that shit too,
they
and
do.
Apple even takes it a step further. And
Mhm.
after in a period of time, their software and hardware both start to wear out on purpose. So they design it to be that way.
No, you're not wrong. And that's the thing that like I think we're like you said we're getting into, and like how you've only found one place that could only literally just change screens. I watched this video on TikTok of a guy in Columbus. He literally has people bringing in their MacBook Pros and all that shit, saying that like they'll get notes from their the sender saying like, hey, I sent this to Mac. They said that it can never be fixed. I sent this to Geek Squad. They said that they can't fix it either. And I feel like it's at like fucking basically what you're talking about. They can probably solve the problem. They just choose not to. So when they take it to this person, he literally unscrews it, figures out the problems, sends it on his way. So that dude's making big bucks just
And
because
that
he's trying to
dude
help the people.
is probably pretty close to having some lawsuits filed against him because you're not allowed to do that.
Well, whatever, but like,
you know what I mean? Like that's
I
just,
do.
Yeah.
I mean, you can look the dude up. Like I said, he's actually he's in Columbus. He does that shit, man. It's crazy.
Yeah,
it's crazy like, that it actually, and like you said, they can't do. You know?
And as soon as you do something like that, it voids your warranty. You know what I mean?
I don't give
like,
a fuck.
Yeah. Yeah, but like,
you're saying it can't be fixed anyway. So what? You're telling me that like, oh, this thing that could probably cost me like $400 to get fixed. You're just telling me, well, it can't be fixed. So why don't you just spend $2,200 on the newest fucking MacBook?
Right.
So
and
I don't know.
It's just anyway. So I envision a future where all technology is that way, where let's say even my screen, my TV, I want to improve my TV without buying a new one. You know what I mean?
Let's say it's
maybe
rendered,
maybe I can swap out some of their hardware for better hardware and get a better TV. You know what I mean? Like something like that. Like,
right. Well, that's what I was going to say. It's like, for example, let's say we're set in that near future. Oh, my TV's rendered 8K, but the new 14K just came out. It's like, okay, let's see if we can swap the hardware in your television for you, or whatever to render it 14K to, that the screen's basically like, so for example, like we were talking about in the last episode, mattresses. Spend $3,000 for a mattress, you'll probably never have to buy one again. Or at least within 15 years' time, you know what I mean?
Right.
And that's a hell of a lot longer than the standard that you buy a mattress today, which I think is like 5 to 7 years.
Right. Yeah.
So it's like, I think when it comes down to it, in that future that we're talking about, where you can like literally buy something and anything can get upgraded, solely on just a piece of hardware. Yeah. I think it'll be a point where it's like that shit will be super expensive to purchase, but when you purchase it, it's literally like a one-time fee, and you will literally you will never have like a problem again.
Right.
And I'm okay with that because minimum wage is going up. Some people are about it, some people are against it. It's whatever. I don't give a fuck either way. But like, we're obviously getting to a point to where like, I don't know. This is where you probably come back with currency. Like, we have all this debt that we're in right now that we're so involved in. And like, we just keep, for example, raising minimum wage. Like, that's probably where cryptocurrency is going to go, come into play because money's going to fail. We're going to have so much money and it's going to end up being worthless.
Exactly. As long as a governing body can print more of its fiat on a whim just because it wants to and can, then that system is doomed to fail. It's something I've talked about in multiple of our episodes, but the idea of entropy. There is no infinite growth. Growth will stop at some point. Same applies to our money here. You can keep printing it, but that's just going to drive the value of it down to where it's worthless. And then what?
No, you're not wrong, and that's
and all these people have this idea that money is wealth. Money isn't wealth. Money's just money. That's buying power. Buying power isn't wealth. Wealth is an idea of sustainable and long-term buying power in it, I guess. But like,
I think wealth is for and then I think that's really a definition for everybody. Like my wealth in my head mentally is always being comfortable, never concerning myself where my next meal's coming from, never concern myself if my bills are paid. That's my comfortability. You know what I mean? Some people have to worry about whether the electric's going to get shut off or, you know,
right?
nowadays is somebody's lifeline. You know what I mean? It helps
Yeah,
them a little bit, you know, stay sane in this fucking crazy pandemic we're in. So like
or make it
that's
worse. However, you know,
right, very true. So
because
it's but like I remember when money actually meant something. Like, and this is me just going back into like my elementary days, but like when I was a kid I was very poor, so my parents put us on the reduced lunch. You know, do you know what that is?
yeah,
Okay. 40 cents. I'd get an entire meal. My dad give me like a buck and I'd get a cookie and shit or whatever it was when I was a kid. But like, I remember back then as a kid, I remember how amazing, you know, a dollar was, or at least that's, you know, how
right.
I look at it. So
Well,
I don't know. I know it's not obviously
inflation, unfortunately, has ruined that.
right.
The
I don't
buying
know what a
power
reduced
of your
lunch is
dollar today is not the same buying power of your dollar
back
20
when
years
in
ago.
2002, you
Right.
know. So
Yeah, it sucks. And that's why I support the minimum wage increase. Because inflation. I mean, honestly, wages should have increased with the same rate as inflation. Because if your dollar is being driven down in value, then you need to offset that with a higher wage. Like, you know what I mean? You get what
no,
I'm
I
saying?
do.
Like, so
I
like
100%
I
understand
mean,
what you
there's
mean.
honestly, I don't know. Any argument against it is an argument that is
It's invalid, I think
invalid,
personally.
and
Yeah.
it, honestly just completely invalid because it doesn't matter inflation. Like, I don't know where these people have these ideas that like raising minimum wage is then going to force companies to go out of business. It's like, well, maybe those
Here
governments or those corporations shouldn't um, take advantage of their workers and
mhm.
pay them a shit wage to begin with.
So I 100% agree with you. And going on to that, I have this idea that just came in my well, not idea. This is a conversation I had with a very good friend of ours. I'm not going to name his name, but we had this conversation, and this is thankfully where me and Jacob talked in a previous episode where we're both different on sides, and we are able to come to a fucking conclusion or still be friends on the outcome of the whole thing. We don't sit there and hold grudges, but for example, his argument was with the whole, you know, raising minimum wage. He felt that the working man, the person that's like, you know, was trying to be an electrician and maybe failed the test and wants to try again, knows that he can make that 15.50 an hour, you know, bagging groceries. So he feels that the American man or the working man will not have the energy or the drive to go work somewhere like an electrician or a construction worker or, you know, whatever the, you know, those kind of fucking jobs are that, you know, are good for this world. He believes that if they end up, you know, not succeeding the first time around, that they're just going to go take the basic job. So the everyday Joe job,
Okay.
which I agree in a sense, but I also don't think so.
Yeah.
I feel
I
that
kind of agree because I have a friend at work who his entire belief around economics is there has to be incentive. And I kind of believe that because you can't you can't have something if there's no incentive to get it because then no one is going to try to get it
exactly.
because what's the point, you know what I mean? And
Hmm.
I think that's what he's getting at is that like what you were saying was that you know if somebody wants to do this thing and
Mm-hmm.
they decide it's too hard and there's no incentive to go through the trouble of getting there, then they'll just settle for something, which
I feel that's true for some, but I don't feel it's true for all. There's
I
people
don't
that
I
still
don't
want to
think
work
it's
hard. There's still
true.
people that are determined to do a passionate thing in their life, regardless if it's electrician. Like it could be okay, for example, daddy's an electrician. He did it his entire fucking life. Okay, I'm gonna be an electrician because I saw him, I grew in his footsteps, and it's actually what I want to do. Okay, somebody's not going to give up that easily when they saw their dad work their ass off and
Right.
can see where their dad's at today and say like, okay, well, I'm going to just give up on this dream because I can make this much money. It's a little bit less, but I'll survive on it. Like I don't feel personally people are going to do that. People have a drive. Not, now, I'm not saying all do. Some people are just going to wave the white flag and call it a day. I don't, I don't care either. That's not a problem. But like, I also feel that the working man will not give up so easily.
Right.
So
No. And I have a little bit more faith in people than that.
I do too.
And that's another thing that kind of ties into like the whole like welfare thing that people like to talk about, and how like if you just give welfare to people, then they're not going to go find a job. You know what I mean? And like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that may be true for some, but
Mm-hmm.
honestly, I think the vast majority of that is not true, and that most of those people just need some help. You know what I mean? And
I 100% agree because I have no shame to it. My father was on Social Security.
right.
You know what I mean? But
No,
he was a
yeah.
working man, and he was still working when he was on Social Security under the fucking table. He was just trying to
Just to
survive and make
make
money.
by. Yeah, dude.
Yeah,
And
because
like,
he had tinnitus. He was a machinist for like 20 something years of his life. And tinnitus is this thing where like basically you have permanent ringing in your ears 24/7.
yeah.
So that man could not work anymore in machine shops or anything like that because his fucking, listen to that 24 hours a day, piercing, waking up, going to bed, waking up. That's probably got to be fucking a toll.
Yeah.
And that's among other things that people get, Social Security for. Like you said, some people just need help.
Yeah. And this kind of ties into some other stuff where like maybe welfare isn't the help that these people need. Maybe, a little bit of welfare, whenever.
Right.
And that's why I'm kind of a proponent for universal basic income.
Oh, for sure.
But anyway,
I think we're a long ways away from that, unfortunately.
yeah. But maybe that money that gets, all that extra money that goes out to welfare could be spent providing other services like therapy or something
Yes,
like
for
that,
100%
because I think a lot of times people who are on welfare
are the ones that desperately probably need fucking therapy.
yeah they
Mm-hmm.
don't necessarily just need money. They need something substantial in their life to give them hope to work towards
Purpose.
something. You know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
in a world where that is just so void because there's just so much bullshit, and then on top of that you have a system that constantly keep those same people pushed down purposefully,
I think that's the whole goal, unfortunately.
so that way that's why fuck these Wall Street fucks.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck these government fucks, because they don't actually give a fuck about the people.
No, that's what pisses me off about Trumpers. They sit here and they commend this guy. Still continue to sit here and
And
fucking
he
get upset
never
because
gave an
Biden's
ounce
president.
of a fuck about any of them ever.
None.
He didn't care. He was
No.
so self-involved, and it was all for his own show.
We're fucking.
It's just
We're mouth breathers to him, man. I could give a shit less about his
I'm just a
opinion on
mouth
me.
breather anyway, but
right. But still, like that motherfucker's breathing gold. I guess I don't know.
well, he's gonna be wishing he was breathing Bitcoin here soon.
But, oh my goodness.
Yeah, so it's fucked out here, brother. It's fucked. But
Those-
I have hope because I think all this shit's gonna fucking collapse anyway, and we're just gonna rise out of it
I think people will
better
make the
than
right
ever.
decisions as well. You know what I mean?
At the end of the day, yeah.
Yeah. Like I think we're all good and we all have good intentions. I don't
That's
think ever.
that's that's one thing that bothers me about Christianity in
Oh.
general.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you get told you're a sinner. You're a sinner. You're a sinner. You need to repent. You need to feel sorry for your sins. You're a sinner. You're a sinner. You're a sinner. I don't think sin is real. I don't think sin exists. I
Well.
think I think there are just
Mm-hmm.
good and bad decisions that are made
Mm-hmm.
based upon good or bad thoughts. And those good or bad thoughts aren't inherently bad because the universe exists in duality of balance of good and evil, light and dark. You know what I mean? There's a
Mm-hmm.
and that's the thing is it's like the universe exists in a perfect balance, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so to say that humans are just sinners that need to repent for their sins is to say that humans are inherently bad
I mean,
and unworthy of being in heaven unless you repent.
you repent.
And
That's the
and
thing.
and
I
that
think.
is to me so off base of the reality of our existence in the universe.
Well, that's the thing is I think when we come into something as serious as what you just brought up, like I feel that's something where I need like a true believer of God to come in here, and I also need somebody that was like either let's say for example studying to be a preacher, but then found this and understood this and started reading about this, and then found out basically it's all a fucking sham. I need two of those kind of people that to debate
Well,
and talk about it because when
I've
it
I've
comes
been
to that,
taking I've been
well,
doing
hold
that
on.
on my own in my head.
Well,
Go on.
well, all right. Well, what I'm saying about this is because, like, when it comes to like God, I think in a sense, it's like it's a 50-50, if you will. Like, some people are gonna say, like, okay, believe in God, praise God. The Christians, live that life and they're into heaven. And then you have those people where it's like, man, I'm on my deathbed and I'm really scared. I'm going to pray to God so I can hope that I can go to heaven, and all my sins will be washed away and I will accept them into my soul. There's that because fear.
Why do I have
You know what I'm
to
saying?
accept God into my soul to go to heaven?
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's fear. It's fear. You're dying. That's the one you're scared where you will go because you have been fed your entire life that you either have heaven or you have hell.
I
You
think
know what I'm saying?
church and the Bible are the most manipulative things to exist because they prey upon human emotions to get you to believe something.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So, like, that's why I would love to have somebody that's such a true believer in God and somebody that's, like I said, tried to believe, found something that bothered him, learned a new way of learning about God, and then,
Well, this is
scratch the whole thing.
this is
Or
what
a non-believer that has research, you know what I'm saying? That's
well that's
logical about the shit.
this is what I wanted to talk about was that. So one thing I think that is lost on Christianity is the idea of the divine, the idea of spirituality, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that even just Christianity um has to exist without the idea of the divine. And now what I'm going into is the idea of the relationship between God and psychedelics. And this is something I think a lot of people don't want to talk about, but I think is potentially something that may even intrigue a lot of Christians. Is the idea that the two are one and the same. and that the Bible is not real, but it doesn't mean that the God of the Bible isn't real. Now, this is going into what I was saying just a minute ago, where I believe the Bible itself is a tool of manipulation. As a tool to manipulate people into believing certain ideologies to follow that religion, right? And then at the basis of it, the very base of it, the structure that holds it all together is that if you want to go to heaven, if you want an afterlife that isn't burning in hell, then you have to accept Jesus as your savior. That sentence alone is the most manipulative thing I've ever heard. You know what I mean? Like that is on at the very basis is saying you need to be scared of where you're going to spend eternity, because we know you don't know what happens after you die. But just to say that, hey, you want a good place to go after you die, right? Well, here, follow this. And if you don't, well, then you're going to go to an extremely terrible place when you die. That's so fucking manipulative.
It's very manipulative. There was one person, I forget who the hell said it, where it was like, it's a 50-50 shot whether or not God is real or if he's, it's a lie. So why not believe in him too? So you know what I mean?
Right.
So it's like, because for example, like, let's say you believe in him and he's real. Awesome. You go to the gates of heaven. Everything's wonderful. Let's say you don't believe in him and he's not, or you believe in him and he's not real. You die and you spend eternity wherever fucking eternity is. Right. Okay, awesome. Well, at least you played the 50-50 card. People, right. But I don't want to look at it that way, but I just like, I'm not disagreeing with you either, because church is manipulative. It manipulated me. It manipulated you. It manipulated, our families. Not saying that anybody that has a belief, I don't knock anybody that believes in God at all.
Right.
That's the first thing that I think we need to, establish is
you're right.
We have no hatred towards anybody that believes in anything. I want you, like, if anything, believe in something. Don't sit there and believe in nothing. You know what I mean?
And I commend these because they, those people who are into religion, in their soul, are spiritual beings. But I just believe that they've been manipulated to believe a certain thing, when, like, what I'm saying is that potentially I think the idea of psychedelics and religion are one and the same. And that and that the Bible is an interpretation, and like potentially is that the God of the Bible is real, but the Bible was written afterwards to, manipulate people, and that so to go into this, to tie some things together, I guess. So with the use of psychedelics, there's often the idea of connectedness and oneness, right, with the universe and with other people. And one part of Christianity is the idea that God resides in everything, and God is in me and you and in the trees and the grass and the wind, and that potentially could be true, and but I don't necessarily think it's the way that the Bible portrays it. I think God exists as the collective energy that we all share, right? And that's in me, that's in you, it's in everything, just like the Bible says God is. But you know what do you get what I'm saying? I
get what you're saying on a spiritual level. I get what you're saying.
And so like, and to experience the divinity of that, you don't have to subscribe yourself to the Bible, right? Like you
I don't think
can
it's necessarily
you
bad to
can
like.
worship the wonder of God in the divine that is the universe, and it's the same thing. You're just not labeling it as the other thing. You know what I mean?
I think so. I think it's an experience that everyone has to have for themselves. Whether you pick up a Bible and decide to read it cover to cover and listen or read the stories, or whether you just decide to take cliff notes like any other person, or at least person that I've known when they were in church, and just read what the hell was being told or spoken to them. It really just depends on you. I want anybody and everybody to search your own path. You know what I mean? Like, for example, I'm a very spiritual person, and I've also believed that if you are a good person, then good things will happen to you. Whether you had an attitude at a Kroger because some lady pissed you off, that might bite you in the ass later on. I don't know, but it's definitely a possibility. What I also believe in is the sun and the moon. Those are the two things that keep us alive every single day.
Now let me say one thing about both of those things you just said. So
Okay.
essentially, the first thing you were talking about was karma, right?
Yeah, I
Right.
know
Okay.
what I was talking about. Yeah.
Karma is the idea of the balance of good and bad, right?
Yeah.
You know, you output good, you get good. You output bad, you get bad. That's the duality balance there. Now the sun and the moon. That's the duality of our
Don't sit here
existence
and act
on
like you're teaching
Earth.
me a class, bro.
I'm not trying to teach you a class. I'm just trying to point out these
I get what
concepts.
you're saying. I get what you're saying.
You know, and
Mm-hmm.
the same applies with religion. You have God and Satan, right? And it's the good and the bad. You have the balance. You have the duality. And I think religion and Christianity and things understood, whoever wrote the Bible understood all of those concepts, all the ideas of the divine and the duality of the universe and stuff, and they took that
Mm-hmm.
and pissed all over God and said, well, this is what we're going to make your religion.
It's a definite possibility. I mean, I couldn't tell you how old the Bible is, but I've always thought to myself, like, it was republished, and then it was republished, and then it was republished, and then it was republished, and it was republished. How many of those times when it was republished, how many times did those stories change?
Now,
You
and
know?
this is another thing. There was a guy. Um, there was this podcast I was listening to that had two guys on it. One was Graham Hancock, who I've mentioned before. Graham Hancock is a journalist slash like archaeological journalist. Um, and then the other guy studied like classic history of like ancient Rome and ancient Greece and stuff like that. And that guy was talking about what I'm talking about is the connection of psychedelics and God, and specifically Judeo-Christian religions, and how if you go back to very early translations of the Hebrew and things like that, there's a lot of alluding to um, the use of psychedelics right there in the Bible. It's just that it's been construed over 1,000+ years to rid those ideas from the Bible
Dude, I
and from
want to.
other religions.
Yeah, we definitely it would be wonderful if we could get a non-believer and a fucking preacher in here, or somebody of high belief, and just would love to talk. It would be wonderful just to hear other people's input on this. Because yours is very what do you want to call it? Very eye-opening, I would say. For a lot of people, and the same goes for me. How I believe in the construct of life. I'm kind of that guy where it's like, all right, I was a Christian once, you know, I did the Christian thing. And then like I was judged way more than I ever was inside a church than I was outside of a church. So I was like, you know what, man, I'm good. I'm good. I don't want to be here. And then as I grew older, I was like, man, it'd be really cool to maybe just like understand a little bit of something about God. So I decided to buy a Bible just out of curiosity to kill the cat. Haven't even picked it up, not one time, but you know, I asked my uncle for a recommendation, you know, where to start. He told me to start in the book of John. Okay. Still haven't done it yet. But the whole point of this being like, I am not a man that's with God, but I'm also a man that's not with God. I'm a
Right, right,
man, right.
right,
I'm a man that's spiritual because I believe that the one thing that does keep me alive is the sun and the moon. And I feel that's pretty goddamn spiritual to me. You know, I wouldn't have, you know, my carrots or my green beans or my potatoes or, you know, cows, you know, or anything like that because, you know, the grass wouldn't be fucking being made, you know, or growing for the cows to eat, you know, or the sun growing my vegetables for me to smash on, you know, all that shit. So like if you're going to praise anything, praise the thing that wakes you up in the morning. Praise the
right,
thing that makes you go to bed at night because if we didn't have either one of those, we'd be dead.
right,
All of us.
right.
So like I don't know, man. Like religion and you know, what else you want to say? Religion.
Spirituality.
There we go. Spirituality. It's all something that you have to find yourself and figure out what the hell you want to believe in.
And it's all
Honestly,
it's one and the same, honestly.
it really is.
You just have to be able to take yourself out of what is you are being told and view it from a point of, well, what what do I know and understand of like how things work,
And
right?
essentially,
And
we're only talking about Christianity too. You know what I mean? There's also
yeah, yeah,
numerous other religions.
yeah,
You know, and they're probably at the end of the day. I'm not gonna say that I'm 100% right on this because I'm probably not, but they're probably all one of the same. They all essentially mean you know good and bad. You know, praise so and so, and you know, forgive your, you know, be forgiven, so on and so forth. I'm sure we're all kind of in similarity in religion.
yeah. And this is just a wild thought, and I'm not saying I
Mm-hmm.
believe this, but maybe at some point in the history of the world, some people got together and was like, all right, so we understand how the universe works. How can we write this down in a way that is both telling the truths while also remaining cryptic? So that way we're not just
Mm.
telling you flat out the truth, but you have to read it and figure it out yourself, right? And then now how can we distribute this in a way that makes it seem like there's something for everyone in it?
There's a definite
And
possibility
then
of
and
that.
then all of the religions were created at the same time and and
Fuck.
put out into the world so that way people could grasp these ideas in a way that made sense to them where they were in the world.
Man, there's a definite
Sorry,
possibility.
that's just
No,
like
you're
that's a
good. That
big
was a
like wild conspiracy thought. Like I said, I'm not even saying that that's true or anything at all. But I'm just saying,
well,
whoa, man, what if, man?
I don't remember the exact quote, but I know I'm pretty sure that like Brian Griffin said it best off Family Guy. You know, when Meg was like burning books and shit like that, you know, thought it was a good idea, so we didn't have history because of her religion. They
Right?
were making fun of Kirk Cameron. You know.
Yeah, yeah,
All right. So, anyways, she was like, so what is life? And he was just like, well, that's the whole point. No one knows, and that's the whole experience of life is just you know learning to be there with it or something along those lines. And it was very deep, and that's why I love cartoons so fucking much. But like
I love all of these like really deep things that you pick out of what you watch because like most of that shit would just go over everyone's head. Like the quote from Batman that you said.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Why do
Same
we
thing.
fall, sir? You know, so we can pick ourselves back up. It just
Like these things you pick out, and they're perfect. I love it.
well, they're passionate. You know what I mean? Because like that, and what you're saying that right there best describes me. I'm discovering life, so those little tidbits are a part of my life.
Right.
You know, I care about them because that's what's teaching me how to grow. I don't think, and that's the whole thing of being an adult, being a 30-year-old man. What I didn't know when I was 14 years old. I think growing up, I'm doing that more as a 30-year-old man than I ever did as a 14-year-old kid. If
Right.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm learning who the fuck I am because when you're a kid, you're in this world, you're in this bubble where you feel that you have to be this certain type of way. And you're struggling so hard. And some people focus so hard on that they forget about their schoolwork or they forget about their life and they focus on just trying to befriend these people that might just be wearing Abercrombie and Fitch.
And
Or
that's
because
what
they look
sucks
aesthetically
about
pleasing.
our current society is that kids are, before they are beaten and shaped and molded by our world, they are free to think and believe and socialize in ways that are honestly next level compared to how adults are, right? Like as adults, we think about things in a way based upon the influences we had prior to that thought, right? Everything leading up to that thought influences that thought. As a kid, well, you don't have anything to lead you up to that thought.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you haven't been molded to think a way yet. You just
Right.
think. You just think. Your brain thinks. It just thinks.
And whatever you first thought of, you think it's the right idea.
And that's that is the beauty of what being a kid is that you're not shaped and molded yet, and you're able to think about things abstractly because, well, there is no things to define your thoughts yet.
Right. You don't have like you don't think of like, okay, I'm gonna build this. You know what I mean? And then like, you know, as an adult, you're thinking, okay, well, I could build at point A, B, C, D, E, and F, but F looks like it might work with G. And if I do G, I can probably work with E and so on and so forth. But when you're a kid, you're just thinking, okay, I'm going to put it this way, this way, this way. And you find the most simplistic way is basically, I think, what we're getting at. You know, you don't sit
Not
there
even
and
that, like,
you don't rifle through 100 thoughts just to figure out one thought. You just do, in a sense.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Because you feel and know. It's just, you know, in your body.
It's confidence too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just tying this into the one topic that we were just talking about is the idea that in a way some psychedelic use brings you back to that frame of reference.
Mm-hmm.
Or it can, you know, because under the influence, a lot of times you can forget the things that mold and shape the way you think, and your brain is just, you know, firing and thinking without the extra processing going on, right?
Right.
And that's why I think the like modern organized religion is bad, because just in the same way that our society shapes and molds the way kids think, the same way does church and the Bible mold the way spiritual people view their spirituality.
Well, that's what I wasn't getting at that with the whole going back onto the Christian thing, and that I was just saying how when we were or as an adult now, you're so molded and you have so many thoughts but that the time when you were a kid, you know what I mean? Like we said, you were such a free thinker, and I feel that's where like religion, spirituality, Christianity, whatever, comes into play because now, like you said, we're so much more molded, we're so much more grounded in our mindset and views and thoughts and ideas that, you know, we can think of 800 things compared to when you were a kid, for example. Free thinker, right? So what's the first thing that you're going to know about? And that's all you know about? Christianity. Why is it brought that into your brain? And why is that the only thing that's in your brain? Because it's the only thing you know. You know what I mean? But when you grow up, you know that there's like other fucking this or that or this or that. Thank God for the internet, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
So, like, I feel that's where you end up growing up. And I feel that we even might be growing up at a rate faster than I think any other generation or time because of the internet, you know?
I wouldn't say growing up. I would say,
or
I would say
more knowledge, if you will.
Yeah. It's more of a cultural exposure, or like ideological exposure.
I say cultural.
You're or both. I mean, you're
Right.
being presented with the clusterfuck and the endless ether of thoughts and ideas from everybody all over the world, that you're able to think about things more abstractly and more conceptually, because you're not being presented only one or a few ways of
Thoughts.
thinking or thoughts. You're being showed and exposed to essentially infinite
Right.
thought patterns that you can then find and mold and shape, and like, you know, so that's why, like, there's this kid I work with. I think he might still only be 18, but he might be 19. And there's two of them actually. They're both like the same age. And honestly, I wish I was exposed to the internet as much as I was at their age. Like, we had the internet at that age, but it wasn't what it is now, right? And
No,
like,
not in any way, shape, or form. I
but
remember
these kids
just getting
are
on YouTube
fucking
was a luxury,
so
you know?
smart, dude. They're so fucking intelligent, and
You want them on your team for whatever you might be trying to do in the future.
And they don't, for the most part, they reject the ideas that are presented with them and substitute their own due to their own thoughts and processes. And that is, to me, commendable for somebody at their age, because when we were kids at that age, or even younger generations, like, or older generations, sorry, they were less and less doing that exact thing. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
I mean, we came out of it doing that, but I would go as far to say that there are less people in our generation who are on that train of thought than there are in this newer generation.
Definitely. It's I don't know.
It's cool, honestly. It's pretty
no, it's very
badass.
cool.
And
it's like I've always, I guess this makes me selfish or it makes me petty. I always want to be, it's like, man, just reverse my time like 10 years. It's 2021, give me just 10 more years. So, like, you know, I'm 30 now, take me back to 20 in 2021. I want to be 20 years old right now. You know, just give me that. And like, I'd be a hell of a lot fucking happier. But it's just, the kids today, just in my own opinion, kids today are so much smarter, and we will see, I don't know,
we need to get these older fucks out of here and stop
that are not accepting.
They're stifling the younger generations from really exploring the world of possibilities that are out there, because they're so caught up in the dumb shit that they believed 30, 40 years ago, that
they're putting it on their kids though too, and some kids end up being that too.
Exactly, and we just need to get them the fuck out of here, so that way we can make a better world. Honestly,
you're not wrong.
I'm just and I don't want to say all of older generations, but just like I was saying, I think as time has been progressing,
Mm-hmm.
there's been more and more people, more and more percentage of each pop or each generation that is being woke. If that, you know what I mean? If we're going to just put a term, woke, right?
Right.
I think, yeah, you had hippies back in the fucking, beginning of the counterculture movement, 60s, 70s,
Right.
but the percentage of their generation that were hippies was small, right? The
Mm-hmm.
vast majority of the people in their generation were still just, normies. And then as time go on through the 80s and the 90s and the 2000s, more and more percentage wise of each generation has been becoming more woke, to the point where now the young generations are like, they're fucking like 15, 16, woke as fuck, talking about some shit that, like, you know what I
We
mean?
should have been on the train. That
Yeah,
way
you
they
know what I
are.
mean?
Yeah.
But,
Mm-hmm.
anyway, so
It's
what
generation
I'm
gap
saying
too.
is fuck the vast majority of the older generations for stifling the growth of the younger generations. And to the older generations that are cool and hip and
Love you, brother.
fuck yeah, dude. Sorry.
Yeah. Sorry, dude. That
Sorry.
shit. Wow.
But I commend you for sticking through it from the beginning and paving the pathway for these younger generations. But you should have also turned around and punched your dumber co-generators in the face for being so fucking stupid.
Right. Wow.
So
I think that's a strong point to leave off of. I think we're good.
what do you
This
mean?
is good. I mean, you got anything else to say? Because I think you said it all.
Yeah, I mean, I had a couple things, but
Yeah.
I covered a lot.
Okay. Well, I mean, you should. It's what's on our mind, and this was the podcast today. So
I wish they would stop increasing the THC content of cannabis.
okay.
Just like the duality and balance of the universe, cannabis was naturally organically not super high in THC. There's a
Okay.
bunch of cannabinoids in cannabis
All right.
that have effects, but we've been genetically modifying cannabis for 20, 30 years now
Mm-hmm.
to have higher THC content. But I think THC on its own in high concentrations um, is having a negative effect in conjunction with the internet. And I think there needs to be a balance of the cannabinoids in cannabis. Yeah, some people have a really high tolerance, and that's one thing. But also, um,
People
I mean,
starting out, they don't need to be. It's
well,
probably very
well,
accessible.
weed is not just THC; it's all the other stuff, and more so, all the other cannabinoids actually have a more beneficial effect than THC does.
Mm-hmm.
But THC is what causes you to get high. So that's what, people are shooting for. They're after,
Looking to
you know
get
what I mean?
elevated. Mm-hmm.
And I think that just goes into the fact that there's a lot more people with addictive tendencies these days than there used to be. But all this also just kind of just ties into the fact that, like, population growth is growing, so of course
Mm-hmm.
there's going to be more. But um, yeah, I'm actually starting to look into cutting my THC intake in half and
Mm-hmm.
substituting it with half CBD as well. So
Okay.
buying a flower that's push normally as a THC flower, and then buying a high CBD content flower with a low THC content and mixing for my preference at the time. And I want to
Most
feel a little bit
definitely.
higher, put a
Mhm.
little bit more THC than CBD. Well, I'm
Okay.
looking just to get a little buzz, but feel
Mhm.
good and like put more CBD and less THC.
It's crazy. We're in such a time. I remember
I know. It's
started smoking
amazing.
weed. Started smoking weed. It was literally just grind it up, put it in a bowl, and smoking it.
Some brick weed, bro. Don't even know what it is. Like,
Terrible brick ass weed.
yeah,
God, what a time to be alive.
man. I remember those 20 sack days, bro.
Bro. 20 days or quarter. We burned quarters so fast.
You fucking gotta smoke all of it to get high.
You really did, bro. Roll fat dubers and
Like,
everything.
no wonder we were smoking blunts because we needed to smoke a blunt to get high. Now I got this
Mm-hmm.
fucking thing, and this thing, dude, I put like, bro, like half of a bowl pack in this,
Mm-hmm.
and it lasts me half of the day.
That's wonderful.
I smoke one whole bowl pack a day because this thing fucking, it's a vaporizer. I guess I'm throwing this thing around. Nobody knows what the fuck it is, but
I call it a robot dick.
he calls it a robot dick. But it's a dry herb vaporizer. And it's phenomenal because you vaporize it, so you get all the goodness, all the cannabinoids out of it, and you're not burning any of it, you know. But yeah, it's nice. It's the way to go.
See, that's a better way to go off of talking about good weed.
It's good weed, bro.
Good times.
All right, well, yeah, I guess we're gonna head out of here.
Yeah.
Much love to everyone for tuning in. Thank you.
Appreciate you.
Swing over to our YouTube channel and check out our video that we just posted with Mind at Large. We've been talking about them for a couple weeks. The video is finally out, so go check that out.
Most definitely. And a music review the following week. Not going to tell you what it is, but music review the following week. So
really
look forward to that, guys.
Stoked about it.
I'm pretty excited myself. So
yeah, it
will be good. All right, guys. Well, much love. Appreciate you as always. Check us out on Facebook, Instagram. Like you said, head over to YouTube. Bye.
Peace.